Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Kevin Freeman. We're now going to talk a little bit about the Peach Belt Men's Tournament along with head coach Ben Miller. Coach, welcome back to the program as always.
Thanks, Kevin.
I want to ask you some of the same questions that I asked Coach Haskins. All right, I wanted to start with the Flagler game at first from last week. It was a hard-fought 76-71 win. And every year, despite the Saints' record, I mean, they haven't had a terrific season, but they always seem to play the Braves close. So talk a little bit about the game, what the keys to victory were.
Well, it's an emotional day, senior day. For those guys that have meant a lot to this program, and it's tough on them. I mean, because it's their last game in the field house, and Flagler really came out and played well. They're a very good offensive team. Two good big guys, a really good shooter. Coach's son, Matt Clark. So they gave us all we could handle. But it was good to get the win, and really happy for those guys to go out on a winning note.
Well, let's talk about the Lander game a little bit. You lost 79-75, very close game to Lander. They shot lights out in this game, but you had a lot of players who contributed pretty well. Marcus Heath had a good game as a senior, and we'll spend some time talking about the seniors. But I wanted you to focus on Marcus a little bit and talk about how he's become a more confident guard since his freshman year.
Sure. From day one, he's had a lot of responsibility. He was kind of thrust into the starting lineup as a freshman, and probably before maybe he was ready for that, but he's handled it well, and has become one of, if not our best defender. I think he's one of the best defenders in the league, but he's really developed, and his role has changed a little bit. We've tried to ask him to shoot a little bit more this year because of Griffin's here running the point more, and that really helps our team when he's aggressive looking to score. I think sometimes his habit is to go back and get the ball when really we need him moving without the ball to catch and shoot and make plays that way. But Lander game was a tough game. They've got a very, very good team, and they've gotten better and better throughout the year, and have a young man, Tolbert, who's right up there, could win Player of the Year in the Peach Belt. He was at Armstrong a few years back and was out for a few years, so he's an older veteran player. But another great Peach Belt battle. And I think our Armstrong game the week before was the only game that was more than 8 points one way or the other. So every game's, other than that one's really been a battle down the stretch.
There's no such thing as a Peach Belt blowout anymore, the parity in this league. Well, let's jump right into talking about the tournament here. The UNCP is the 4th seed in the East in the Peach Belt tournament, which is in Columbus. Also, the Braves are going to face the #1 from the West, which is Montevallo. Same question to you that I asked Coach Haskins. I mean, what does it say about the strength of the Peach Belt when an 11-7 team like UNCP is the 4 seed? There's that many good teams in this conference.
Yeah, it was close. It went down to the last day, and if we had won Saturday, we would have gotten the 2nd seed because of tiebreakers. We had the tiebreakers over Augusta if we had tied them, and Lander had some over us, but they really had to go to the 3rd or 4th tiebreakers because it was so close. And the margin between Aiken, who won the league, and the 8th team, or even the 9th. You look at Francis Marion. They didn't get to the conference tournament, and they've got probably one all-conference player, first team, another one who's 2nd team, and 4 seniors. And they took Aiken to double overtime last week, so that tells you a little bit the parity in our league. So I think it's going to be a fun conference tournament where everybody's capable of going in there and winning it.
Well, let's talk about your first game against the Falcons. They beat you by 5 at the Jones Center on January 7th, and this is one of the few games all year where you really got beat on the glass. How are you approaching this game, and what kind of adjustments are you hoping to make compared to the first matchup, besides rebound better?
Yeah, they're very good. They've got another young man, DJ Rivera, who's kind of a one-year guy that came in as a transfer and is an all-conference player, averaging 22 a game, I think. But anyway, they're also us and Montevallo are the best 2 rebounding teams in the league by margin, and they kind of kicked our rear ends here, and that was a huge difference in the game. So that's got to be a real focus for us this week in our preparation. All
right, I wanted to focus, I know we're going to talk more about the seniors later, but I wanted to focus on Nathan and Mike for a second because they got the starts, of course, during the senior game, but they've also been kind of your 6th and 7th men interchangeably here for most of this season. Why are they such effective weapons off of the bench this season?
Well, it's a nice luxury to have when you can bring in that kind of experience off the bench. And they both had great weekends, both had double figures, both games. last weekend. So we're going to need that depth and that punch off the bench here down the stretch.
It's definitely nice to have that luxury of having some depth like that off the bench. Speaking of which, he took a little blow on the bench in that Ty Alston tore his Achilles tendon in the Flagler game, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
How's he doing?
He's doing well. They had surgery last week, he's recovering. It's going to be a long haul for him to get back, probably a total of 6 months. But he's in good spirits and ready to get back to rehab.
And he'll be there on the bench cheering